Welcome to the Delhi Township Board of Trustees meeting for August 12th, 2015. We'll start with a moment of silence and then the Pledge of Allegiance. The moment of silence will be in honor of our veterans. If you didn't know, this Friday, August 14th, is VJ Day. It's the 70th anniversary since the victory in Japan. On August 14th, 1945, Japan surrendered. Next day, they announced it to the world for VJ Day. So let's take a moment of silence for all the soldiers that have given their life for our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll start with motions for consideration. Mr. Luby.
Motion 2015-126, approve the minutes of the regular Board of Trustee meeting held on July 29th, 2015, and dispense with the reading.
I move motion 2015-126 to approve the minutes of July 29th.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-127, approve bills for payment.
I move motion 2015-127 to approve the bills for payment.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-128, approve the payment of overtime for pay period ending August 4th, 2015.
I move motion 2015-128 to pay for the payment of overtime.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion 2015-129, approve the hiring of Beth Rodesheimer as part-time seasonal gardener in the Parks and Recreation Department at the pay rate of $10 per hour, effective August 13th, 2015.
I move motion 2015-129 to approve the hiring of Beth Rodesheimer.
Second the motion.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, we do have one presentation tonight. I'm going to call up Marty Smith and Clyde Kober to do that presentation from the skirt game.
Thank you. I'm Clyde Kober. This is Marty Smith. For the last 9 years, we've been co-chair of the Delhi skirt game. What this really means is that we get to take credit for all the work that the committee does and the 350 volunteers or so that make the skirt game a success. Last Thursday and Friday were our 5th tailgate party and the 38th annual skirt game. This skirt game was probably one of the most challenging in at least the last 10 years, and Marty and I have been involved in 9 of those as co-chair. Because of these challenges, we thought it was necessary to come to the trustee meeting and thank some of those organizations that made this game a success, even in light of the adversity that we faced this year. First, I would like to mention some of the things that we had to overcome that normally are not issues. First, last year at the skirt game, we had some security issues that, thanks to the Delhi Police Department, never really became a problem, but raised some concerns about the security of the event. On top of the security concerns, we had rain all day Thursday, which disrupted the tailgate party and caused the park to be a soggy mess when we arrived there on Friday morning. When I saw the field on Friday, I was concerned about even having the event, much less having it be as successful as it usually is. At this time, I would like to ask Lieutenant Braun, Chief Campbell, and Josh Torbeck to come up here. Let me take this off. First, we would like to thank the Delhi Police Department, the Delhi Citizens Police Association, and the Explorers for their help with the skirt game, not only this year, but for the past 38 years. The Delhi Police Department also works with us in the fire department to take kids shopping in our Kids, Cops, and Firefighters program at Christmas time. For this assistance, we would like to honor them with one of our skirt game plaques. Marty, make the presentation. While I turn off my phone.
We would like to give them this plaque. It says, "The Delhi Skirt Game Heroes. Men dressed like women, stopping traffic in the street. The nicest bunch of fellows you could ever hope to meet. They're not afraid to flaunt their stuff, many in a Dolly Parton wig, with a big smile on their face and a heart that's just as big. Not ashamed to beg of you, a nickel, dime, a buck, they thank you very sweetly as you wish them the best of luck. In raising money for someone who truly is in need, they give their time, their hearts, and love to this timely deed. Then when it's all over, they pray it ends with many zeros. So let's give a cheer and many thanks this year to our own Delhi heroes. That was written by Janice Kelly on 8/2 of 2007. And the plaque goes on and reads, the Delhi Skirt Game Committee would like to give a special thanks to the Delhi Police Department, Delhi Citizens on Patrol, Delhi Explorers for their extraordinary efforts in keeping the 38th annual Delhi Skirt Game a safe event for families to come and have fun while raising funds to help those in need in Delhi Township. Without their diligence and professionalism, this event could not be held year after year. Presented this 12th day of August, 2015.
The second plaque is going to the Delhi Fire Department. I also want to mention that the police department and the fire department have both participated in the 3 years we've had the Delhi Night Out at the tailgate party. The fire department has been an instrumental part of the skirt game for years, running the pop booth, overseeing the fireworks, and taking care of injuries at the skirt game. They are also instrumental in the success of kids, cops, and firefighters. For their assistance, we would also like to honor them with one of our skirt game plaques.
And without reading the poem again, the plaque says, the Delhi Skirt Game Committee would like to give special thanks to the Delhi Fire Department for their extraordinary efforts at keeping the 38th annual Delhi Skirt Game a safe event for families, working the soft drink booth, and supervising the fireworks. Without their efforts, this event cannot be held. Presented this 12th day of August, 2015.
And finally, the third plaque we are presenting tonight is to the Delhi Parks Department. This year, like no other year in a long time, it felt like the Parks Department was being a partner with the skirt game to make this game happen. As understaffed as the Park Department is, Josh and Randy and the crew at the park did a remarkable job getting the fields in shape for this event. When I got to the park on Friday morning, I didn't know how we were going to have a skirt game. Even at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the field was still muddy, but they continued to work on the field, moved the picnic tables, painted parking lines, and basically did anything that we needed to make sure the game came off without a hitch. Josh has been a great addition to the township, and for all he has done for us before, during, and after the game, we want to present to him and his department a third skirt game plaque.
And their plaque reads, the Delhi Skirt Game Committee would like to give a special thanks to the Delhi Parks Department for their work beyond the call of duty in support of the 38th annual Delhi Skirt Game. Without their hard work and dedication, this event could not have taken place. Presented this 12th day of August, 2015. And I would like to say one other thing. If it wasn't for this crew, I would have had a sleepless night, I tell you. And also, talking to Trustee Seavey, I appreciate Thursday night talking to you, telling us to go with it. It would happen. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Before I close, I have some other folks I need to recognize. I would like the member of the Skirt Game Board who are here tonight to stand and be recognized. First, I better start with my wife, Cindy. Cindy's the treasurer of the organization and pretty much does a lot of things that people don't see. That happens at the Skirt Game. Mary Pat McQuaid is the secretary, and I would say is co-chair of the major awards booth that her husband is really in charge of, but I'm sure Mary Pat does most of the work. And Sherry DeMoss is in charge, is really doing double duty. She's doing donations and entertainment. So these people need a big round of applause for what they do. And I'd like the rest of the committee who attends the monthly meetings to stand up and also be recognized. for your support. I appreciate a round of applause. Thanks. Between the tailgate party and the skirt game, we grossed just over $60,000. That doesn't include donations that we've received from our sponsors, major award tickets that were sold before the game. This is down a little bit from last year, but certainly better than it could have been with all the rain that we had. It is amazing what the community does to support those in need through the Delhi Skirt Game and our Kids, Cops, and Firefighters program at Christmas time. Without the support of the township employees, our volunteers, our sponsors and donors, and organizations that run booths for us, this event could not be the success that it is. I want to thank all of those folks who helped us in any way that they could to make this a success. And we look forward to begin planning for our 39th event next year, which also happens to be the township's bicentennial year. Thanks for letting us be on the agenda tonight, and if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. And if you guys want to head out, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. All right, next we'll move on to trustee correspondence. Trustee Seavey.
Both Fiscal Officer Luby and myself were at the tailgate in the rain, and it was damp, but as I said, nothing dampened our spirit. We still managed to have a great time, and the entertainment was wonderful. And I still say Bob Herzog's got to be the #1 West Side cheerleader.
Trustee Klug.
Nothing for me.
And nothing for me tonight. Report from the fiscal officer.
The next Financial Advisory Board meeting will be on Tuesday, August 18th, 2015, in the Township Administration Building at 5:30 p.m. That's all I have.
There are no public hearings tonight, so next we'll move to report from departments, and we'll go to Mr. Landrum.
Just a reminder that it's coming up very quickly, August 27th, which is just a little over 2 weeks from tonight, 2 weeks from tomorrow night, actually. August 27th, Stantec will be here, so it's another public engagement. Please come tell us what you think so far with the plan that is taking shape so we can get this thing finalized. Of course, it's at the Glen Carter Lodge in the Delhi Park from 6 to 8 p.m. So please, we appreciate your attendance and participation. Thank you.
Next, we'll have reading of the resolutions. Mr. Luby.
Resolution 2015-139, resolution approving purchase order obligations incurred on behalf of the township by the township administrator, authorizing payment of certain purchase order obligations and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution?
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion, dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-140, resolution approving change order number 1 to the contract with Adlita Inc. for the Delhi Township Rehabilitation and Repair Project 2014-A and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution? Mr. Rippinger.
This is pretty much wrapping up 2014's road contract. A little late due to weather and other minor things, but we did end up being under the contract amount by $27,000, so saved a little money there.
Good.
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion, dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-141, resolution certifying to the county auditor final unpaid assessment amounts against abutting property owners for the construction, repair, and maintenance of sidewalk and driveway apron improvements along various township streets, ordered in accordance with revised code 5543.10 and its policy and procedures, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Rippinger?
Again, it's connected to last year's contract for assessments for the sidewalk. We're sending them to Hamilton County. It really ends up being a good way to do the sidewalk and apron improvements on people's houses. Residents are pretty happy with it.
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-142, resolution authorizing the Director of Parks and Recreation to execute the memorandum of understanding with Go Vibrant, a nonprofit Ohio corporation, for planning and mapping of walking routes throughout the township, and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Torbeck?
Yes, thank you, trustees. Go Vibrant is a nonprofit group that works with communities to make them more walkable. So over the next couple of weeks, we plan on working with them, planning routes, making a master map for making Delhi a more walkable community, more active, more social. So we'll be working with them. Hopefully have something out there for the public soon.
Does Stantec know that you're working with them?
I've talked with Catherine, and Catherine has been talking with them, dialogue.
It's a small step.
Yep.
But it could get bigger.
Yes.
Right now it's not part of. Right now it's not part of the what we're talking about walking combine between the business corridor, the mountain, things like that. It's much smaller scale, but yes, they could become bigger partners as things progress.
This is with current infrastructure.
Right.
If things progress, then we're looking at possibilities with more infrastructure. So,
Trustee Klug?
Do they give you any money towards this? Because they can.
actually, normally there's a fee associated with them, and we're working with it with them right now, free of cost. We're not getting charged anything.
You may want to seek P&G with that, because P&G and Go Vibrant is kind of a spin-off of that. And they do give out some sizable grants for that and sponsorships.
Good to know. I'll check into it. Thank you.
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
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 Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-143, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 1037 Fashion Avenue and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
Thank you, Trustee Oswald. We received a complaint on this vacant property of excessive vegetation. The property is vacant. We issued orders with no compliance. Inspection this morning, the property is still the same. So we're requesting that your board declare this property a nuisance so we can address this violation with our nuisance procedure.
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-144, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 202 Silver Spring Drive and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
I second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
Thank you, Trustee Oswald. We received a complaint on this vacant property of excessive vegetation. Issued order letters again, no compliance. On our inspection this morning, the violation still persists. So we're requesting that your board declare this property a nuisance so we can address this violation with our nuisance procedures.
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
Resolution 2015-145, resolution declaring nuisance for excessive vegetation at 335 Anderson Ferry Road and dispensing with the second reading.
I introduce and move the adoption of this resolution.
Second the adoption of the resolution.
Any discussion on this resolution, Mr. Roach?
Thank you, Trustee Oswald. We received a complaint on this vacant property of excessive vegetation. We issued an order letter with no compliance. Upon our inspections this morning, the violation is still there, so we're requesting your board declare this property a nuisance so we can address this violation with our nuisance procedure.
I move to dispense with the second reading.
Second the motion dispense with second reading.
All those in favor of the motion to dispense with the second reading?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Resolution passes.
I have a question of Mr. Roach. ask one?
Yeah. Trustee Klug?
Mr. Roach, up on Cleves Warsaw between Devil's Backbone, if you're heading, I don't know, east and west, if you're heading towards Ebenezer, when you come up the little bump, there's a ranch house on the left that has humongous vegetation. It's like all the way up to its roof on the one side. I don't know the address on it. Can you check it out?
I sure can. Sure. Be more than happy
Thank you.
to. And Trustee Oswald, may I give you an update on 306 Anderson Ferry?
Yes, please.
I did visit Mr. Gleason. He did bring the property into compliance as you instructed, as your board instructed, and I did reiterate the deadline to cover the cars with form-fitting car covers, and so but the first part's done.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Next, we'll move on to citizen comments. I do have one pink sheet. Brian Carter wants to speak about speed control, parking, and lack of customer service.
My name is Brian Carter. I live at 5305 Gander Drive. I've lived there for almost 26 years now. And for you that don't know, Gander Drive is a cul-de-sac on each end. And we came back from vacation on July 26, and we live in the cul-de-sac. And right before our cul-de-sac, there was a speed sign that says, "You're going this fast." There's 9 houses in the cul-de-sac behind this speed sign. To me, this is a tremendous waste of time and energy and manpower. Plus, the police department and zoning department has been on our street because of the lack of parking. And this equipment takes up a whole parking spot. I don't know, I would assume somebody complained about the speed, but there's 9 houses in a cul-de-sac. We can't go that fast. You know, I don't know, I guess it was a complaint driven, but it's ridiculous use of our equipment and time. You know, and then that was on a Sunday. Monday, I came to the headquarters and asked to speak to somebody. I was told that nobody was in to talk to me. I gave them my name, my number, what I wanted. That was the 27th, and today I still haven't heard back. So it's kind of frustrating.
Do you want to come up, Lieutenant Braun? Did you have any input on this topic?
Yeah, the thing was moved Tuesday or Wednesday, but I never received a phone call back.
Are you familiar with what he's talking about?
I am. Thank you. The sign was placed there, it was because we received a complaint. That's why it was placed there. Obviously, we try to comply with any complaint we receive, come out, and anytime we can put a sign out, if we can stop one speeder, if we can slow somebody down,
Well,
that's where it's generated. We generate a list, and we hit the list as far as when we get the complaints.
I guess my question is, I understand that part, but in a cul-de-sac, how could you guys even patrol in the cul-de-sac? There's cars parked, you know, there's no, it's ridiculous.
I understand what you're saying, but
you know, the problem is probably the person complaining, you can't delegate authority. You know, you can delegate authority, but not responsibility. They need to watch their kids and grandkids. Putting the speed sign or putting the children play it sign that they bought out in the street doesn't relieve them of their responsibility. And, you know, they need to watch their kids. And everybody, you know, like I said, 9 houses, and one of them's for sale, so there's only 8 houses. I don't think this is an efficient way to put that up there.
I totally understand what you're saying, but you have to understand too that if we get a complaint from somebody, obviously we like to try to comply with that. We like to bring it out and hit the location for a few days, and then we move it to the next location. I understand what you're saying. It's a cul-de-sac on both sides. I understand what you're saying. You know, I would love to meet with you afterwards, and we can sit down and have a discussion about it and see where. And I apologize, obviously, if you stopped in and nobody made contact with you. I'll be glad to sit down with you afterwards, and we can have a discussion.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Do you have his contact information?
I have his address and name written down.
You know, I guess that's the other thing. It took them 5 minutes to get me at the window, and then they took my name and number and my complaint on a Post-it note. And it's like, my thought was, I'm sure this is going to go real far.
Well,
so I don't know, you know, to Mr. Braun's, I don't know if he ever received it.
Yeah, give him your information now, email, phone number, and you guys can
get with him afterwards
and work that out.
That's fine. Thank you.
We're glad to meet with him. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have announcement of community events.
The Delhi Seniors 8th Annual Auction will be Sunday, August 30th, 2015, from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. It will take place at the Delhi Senior Community Center at 647 Neeb Road. Proceeds from this fundraiser will pay for weekly bus transportation and a facility rental. Contact the Senior Center at 451-3560 with questions. The Delhi Township Parks and Recreation Department Delhi Fish Fest will be Saturday, September 26, 2015, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. It will be at Clearview Lake at Delhi Park. This free catch and release program is open to all ages. Children ages 12 and under must be accompanied by an adult. Fishing will be offered in 4-hour intervals with a limit of 60 people per time slot to accommodate as many people as possible. Contact the park office at 451-3300 or visit the Parks and Recreations Department Programs and Events page at delhi.oh.us to pre-register or to learn more.
There is need for executive session tonight. Mr. Luby.
Motion 2015-130 to retire to executive session to consider the discipline of a public employee and conference with an attorney considering pending or imminent court action.
I move motion 2015-130 to retire to executive session to consider discipline of a public employee and conference with an attorney concerning pending or imminent court action.
Second the motion.
Mr. Luby, please call roll.
Mr. Oswald?
Yes.
Mrs. Seavey?
Yes.
Mrs. Klug?
Yes.
Motion passes. That is the end of our regular meeting. Our next regular scheduled meeting for the Board of Trustees is Wednesday, August 26, 2015. Everyone have a good night.